Hello, traders. Because of any coming to you from the closingprint.com, Sunday, the 28th of September, 2025. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll talk about the market's reprieve on Friday after a 3-day slide, ending the week with most sectors bullish. Semiconductors and tech, along with energy, are noteworthy. That leaves us with 7 bullish indicators, 10 neutral, and 3 bearish. And finally, we have the JP Morgan collar roll on Tuesday, in addition to the drama of a potential shutdown in the government. While the overall market did bounce on Friday, giving us a bullish look, the New York FANG components closed mixed. We only had NVIDIA and Tesla up on the week. That left us above the 21-day, so this still looks bullish. RSI is above 50 and rising. MACD did give us a bearish cross, and stochastics is moving lower. So we need to see the New York FANG components turn and start to lead the markets again. The S&P 500 RSI is still above 50 and turning up. We did have a nice bounce on Friday. Did mark out the 50-day moving average. That would be about a 4% pullback if we do have any weakness going into the JP Morgan collar on Tuesday, and the government shutdown potential theatrics also on Tuesday. If we remove the weight of those New York FANG components, we can see that the S&P equal weight index did manage a bounce and closed higher than Thursday, back above the 9, 21, and 50-day moving averages. This is bullish for equities, as the number of stocks above the 20-day did manage to move higher, as well as the stocks trading above the 50-day bouncing at the 50% level. In addition, the Qs did manage a bounce on Friday. RSI is still above 50. We're above the 9 EMA, so this keeps us in a bullish trend. Volume was below average. We did have 3 distribution days over the last 2 weeks. MACD is flat, and stochastics is moving lower. So this is mostly neutral to bullish at the present time. IWM also bounced on Friday as price action moved back to the 9 EMA on the daily and closing above. There are some mixed signals. Presently, the ARCA Institutional Index, the 75 stocks most commonly held in institutions' core portfolios, is giving us blue elder sticks. So this just means consolidation in a bullish trend. We're pulling back to the 21-day moving average. Bounce back above the 9 EMA, not shown. But with the moving averages stacked and consolidation, we could see a follow-through given the strength that we're seeing in the sectors to close the week. New York Stock Exchange, new highs minus new lows gave us breadth indications that we could see this bounce continue, provided the JP Morgan collar isn't an issue, nor the government shutdown looming on Tuesday as well. Short-term advanced decline is moving higher for the S&P 500, mid-caps, small caps, and the NASDAQ in descending order. In addition, VIX is giving us a bullish signal. You can see the green here turns out to be bullish, shown on the 60-minute chart of the VIX inverted, which closed on a gravestone doji on Friday. Back down to the lows, sub 15 is probably what we'll see this week if volatility contracts. Overall, this leaves us with 7 bullish indicators, 10 neutral, and 3 bearish to start the week. Junk bonds managed a bounce at the 21-day moving average. Looks good if we can follow through on Monday. RSI is rising. MACD is flat above the 0 line, and stochastics looks like it could turn as a function of price. In addition, high yield corporate giving us the same look, right at the 21-day moving average, finding buyers. If these traders thought the markets were going to roll over and pull back anything more than a 2 or 3%, they would not be in HYG or junk, which would be indicated if we saw price action drop below the 21-day and head towards the 50-day. That's not the case, as junk and high yield corporate look very strong. The caveat, of course, is the 10-year yield. If yields continue to move higher, that would be an issue. We are below the descending 50-day moving average and the flat 200-day. RSI is rising. So we do need to keep an eye on yields this week. In addition to gold and silver, both of these giving us bullish signals for the precious metals, as silver makes new highs on above average volume, MACD and stochastics all rising, along with RSI showing muscle. Gold and silver continue to be a bullish trade. Overall, commodities are still in a larger range. We don't want this to push too much higher. That would be bearish for equities in the short term. In addition to tame price action in the Brent crude, so long as we keep this range bound, we're good for the consumer and good for the economy. Copper is rising back above the 50-day moving average. We're looking for a follow through here and a bullish move, which would be indicative of improving economic conditions, with GDP coming in at 3.6% to end the week. Finally, the US dollar is gaining strength. We'd like to see this stay below 100 and stay in a range-bound condition. This would be good for companies that sell products and services overseas and in international markets. So keep an eye on the US dollar. We'd like to see that stay flat in a range below 100. Overall, bonds, currencies, and commodities are neutral to bullish for equities going into this week. Most sectors are bullish, with energy leading. We did see XBI Biotechs trending above its 921 and 50-day moving averages. Along with utilities, if the Fed is going to continue to cut rates, you could expect to see the XLU continue to move higher. Finally, consumer discretionary is outperforming consumer staples. So that gives us a bullish indication in this XLY XLP ratio of performance against each other. As you can see, the February peak and the 2022 market peak looks nothing like the current situation and continue to show a trend to the upside in the short term. Sectors are bullish, with energy, tech, semiconductors, utilities, and consumer discretionary leading. Most of the IBD 50 stocks look bullish, especially gold, Agnico Eagle, Anglo Gold, Eldorado Gold, all trending thanks to strength in the precious metals. Goldfields, and Kinross Gold. In addition, we have a number of IBD 50 stocks that are continuing the trend, like Arcutis Biotherapeutics, ARQT, continuing the bullish trend. We're most likely going to see a bounce and a follow-through on Monday. Volume looking good, MACD's starting to turn, and stochastics as well. Interactive Brokers moving back above its 50-day moving average, filling out a base, looking for a breakout above 68 this week. MACD is bullish and stochastics is embedded. RSI is rising. Look for Interactive Brokers to continue this week. Charles Schwab also showing some strength Thursday and Friday, along with Raymond James Financials, Goldman Sachs with a bounce, JP Morgan. Financials looking pretty strong, along with the credit card companies like American Express. As the financial sector stays above the 9 and 21-day moving average. Again, most sectors are strong and looking for a follow-through this week. Additional stocks from the Bollinger Band squeeze looking very strong. Aviana Healthcare Holdings, AVAH, coming out of a squeeze. Fairly inexpensive name, looking for a follow-through. RSI is showing strength. MACD is turning. Stochastics is moving higher, and volume is starting to pick up. Solar stocks also showing some strength. Make sure you check your favorites. Sunrun is pushing higher. Looks like it's going to come out of a squeeze. $18 stock, RSI rising. Volume picking up. MACD and stochastics are turning up. This is looking pretty good. Zscaler, looking for a follow-through this week. Along with a bull flag and CrowdStrike. Fortinet, and Palo Alto. Looking for the cybersecurity stocks to also catch a bid. Despite the weakness, we did see semiconductors hold up very strong. This is SMH. With NVIDIA putting on a strong performance, trying to hold above the 50-day moving average, looking for RSI to continue. Rise back above 50. Volume picking up. MACD is trying to stay above the zero line, and stochastics is trying to turn as a function of price. Taiwan Semiconductor. All of the designs from all of these different firms like Apple and Microsoft go to Taiwan Semi. Taiwan Semi then makes their chips for them. It's in a bullish trend above the 921.50. All three pointing up and to the right. RSI is right at 70. We had a little bit of selling last week, but not distribution. It wasn't above average. MACD and stochastics stalling out. We'd like to see the semis also participate this week, in addition to the New York FANG components. Tesla gave us a bullish look to end the week, so we'd like to see that continue as well. Energy stocks also putting in a strong performance. This is ExxonMobil following through, looking for a continuation as the energy sector continues to show the strongest performance. With potential for interest rate cuts to continue, we're watching the utility sector and their components for a breakout to the upside. As these fixed income investors hunt for yield, they'll go to XLU and the utilities with their strong dividends. Additional sectors showing strength. Last week, when the markets pulled back, we had a strong relative bounce in biotechs. XBI is following through. Look for your favorite biotech stocks, see if they're following the same pattern, and act accordingly. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com, Sunday, the 28th of September, 2025. Remember, we do have some caveats this week on Tuesday with the JP Morgan collar roll and the theatrics that we're most likely going to see in the government shutdown, highlighted for Tuesday as well. Let's start off the week with a bit of caution and look for these stocks to follow through accordingly. I'll send out a watch list later tonight around 12 midnight on the East Coast, around 9 o'clock on the West Coast, so be sure to check your inbox for that. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care, and we'll see you in the morning. Ciao.